In the heart of winter, when snow blankets the Ukrainian landscape and frost clings to the power lines, a different kind of chill swept across the nation. One born not of nature, but of man's own creation. It seemed like any other winter day in Slavic Europe. The workers were finishing up their shift and getting ready to clock out for the night. Then, all of a sudden, it went dark. Imagine the hum of substations, the rhythmic pulse of electricity coursing through cables. Now picture those circuits disrupted, silenced by an invisible hand. Hospitals plunged into darkness, factories grinding to a halt, and families shivering in unheated homes. The binary realm had invaded our physical reality, leaving chaos in its wake. The 2015 Ukraine grid cyber attack remains etched in digital infamy, a stark reminder that our interconnected world is vulnerable to unseen adversaries. Who were the architects of this digital assault? Was it state-sponsored hackers, rogue collectives, or lone wolves? The answer remains elusive, obscured by layers of encryption and geopolitical intrigue. But one truth emerges. The Ukraine grid attack was a harbinger, a glimpse into a future where ones and zeros wield all the power of the world over our very own systems. Some of the most critical ones of the land, in fact. This is not just a story of subterfuge and intrigue. It is also a cautionary tale for our hyper-connected age. On December 23rd, 2015, some 2 weeks before Christmas, the power grid in the Ivano-Frankivsk region of Ukraine went down for a reported 6 hours, leaving about half of the homes in the region without power. The people who were left in darkness, without any electricity whatsoever, totaled a population of roughly 1.4 million. The initial reports seemed fairly generic, namely that the cause of the power outage was a hacker attack utilizing a virus. Outages were caused when substations, devices that route power and change voltages, were disconnected from the grid. There have been a handful of documented attacks on the power grid and control systems of energy systems, such as oil refineries. But this cyber attack in Ukraine counts as only the second or third to have successfully derailed power delivery using a software-based attack. Much of the concern has been focused on potential attacks on the control systems called supervisory controlled and data acquisition, or SCADA systems, on which power grids are highly dependent for safe, reliable, and secure operation. SCADA systems also provide critical data for operations, automation, and remote control. SCADA stands for Supervisory Control and Data Acquisition. It's a control system architecture used in various industries to monitor and manage industrial processes and machinery. Components of SCADA systems include supervisory computers, which handle high-level supervision and provide operator control screens. Programmable logic controllers, or PLCs, which manage specific sub-processes with sensors and actuators. Remote terminal units, or RTUs, which are similar to PLCs but collect data from field sensors and actuators. And human-machine interfaces, or HMIs, which are used by the operators to review and control SCADA functions. The SCADA systems are fairly versatile and found in sectors like smart buildings, energy distribution, and manufacture. So to recap, SCADA systems collect real-time data from sensors and actuators, PLCs and RTUs manage local processes, while supervisory computers collect and combine information into more manageable chunks. With humans in control from the other side using HMIs, they can monitor and control the system, making critical decisions based on the data being fed to the system. As impressive as these systems are, though, and they are fairly impressive, they are still quite vulnerable and susceptible to external threats. For one, SCADA systems interact with many different PLCs, which can be entry points for attacks when masked and spoofed correctly. And it is exactly the reason that DDoS attacks in particular are generally effective against SCADA systems and can seriously disrupt their operations. There are also the general vulnerabilities most tech sectors face, like poorly secured code, inadequate scripting practices, legacy or outdated software, and leaving the default settings on systems configurations. Some computer worms have been specifically designed to attack the types of control systems commonly found in power utilities. The most well-known of these is called Stuxnet, which I've spoken about in this video, calling it basically a part of cybersecurity mythology. And it was used to compromise Iran's uranium enrichment facilities. But a variety of similar worms have since been developed that experts have feared would be used to bring down the power grid. While the Ukraine outages were reported to involve only one utility, Prikarpatia Oblenergo, evidence of computer malware known as black energy was identified at that utility and two other regional utilities. Samples of the suspect code have since been studied, and various security companies, including Eyesight Partners, EBET, and SANS-ICS, have verified that it contained elements of the black energy malware. The black energy malware is generally associated with a group referred to as Sandworm, which is believed to be based in Russia. It is not clear if Sandworm has an association with the Russian government. Though, Sandworm is suspected to be an advanced persistent threat operated by Military Unit 74455, a cyber warfare unit of the GRU, which is Russia's military intelligence service. This group has been active for at least 2 decades and is believed to be part of the Russian GRU's main center for special technologies. Aside from this attack, the group's most famous exploits include the 2017 NotPetya malware attacks, the 2018 Winter Olympics cyber attack, interference in the 2017 French presidential election, and so on. Most of these attacks have Ukraine as their direct designated target, except for the last one. Black Energy started as a malware system for launching denial of service attacks, which are designed to prevent legitimate users from accessing a server by any one of a number of possible mechanisms. Black Energy has since evolved into an effective system for data exfiltration, or the unauthorized transfer of data from a computer to another one. Such a transfer may be manual and carried out by someone able to access the computer, or it may be automated and carried out through malicious programming placed on the computer being attacked. Around the middle of the previous decade, a new version of Black Energy began to appear with a fun little addendum: new functions and features. These included stealing passwords, covertly taking screenshots, gaining persistent access to command and control channels, and destroying hard drives or wiping sections of them completely clean. In the Ukraine attack, it is not clear if Black Energy was used, but some of its components were present. In particular, there is evidence of kill disk, which is the wiper which cleans hard disks. The Ukrainian power grid has several attributes that cause some special concern. The bulk of the power production at any time is provided by nuclear power plants, which provide most of the steady baseload power to supply electricity through most of the day. To meet fluctuations in demand, for instance, increases in power use in the morning as people begin their day, grid operators in Ukraine primarily rely on coal power plants, thermal energy. They do not have many avenues to import power from other countries to meet spikes and dips in demand, especially in their neighborhood, given their geopolitical affiliations. This situation means that if a cyber attack causes a power outage, Ukraine grid operators may not be able to respond rapidly enough and export an excess in the flow of power, which would lead to grid instabilities and the need to shut down nuclear reactors. There is also the issue of cooling of reactors in the event of a power outage. The cooling pumps in the nuclear reactors in Ukraine are dependent on AC power input from the grid, thereby making them susceptible in the event that backup diesel generators cannot be started. If this attack has shone a light on anything, it's the fact that attacks like these are par for the course in today's day and age. Systems, objects, and infrastructure like this is generally on a similar, if not the same, level in most countries. Nobody skimps out on digital protection anymore, thanks to the attacks on this one, which happened prior as well. Well, nobody skimps unless they absolutely have to or don't have the resources to afford it. But in those cases, they probably wouldn't be building infrastructure like this. So there is that. So this sort of attack can happen elsewhere with relative ease. The only thing that differs is the social component and fabric of the organization, exploitable via social engineering. Coupled with the fact that the US and other Western countries' utilities use software products from various major vendors, which have been the targets of a sandworm black energy campaign, all signs point to the fact that yes, these types of attacks are here. And they are here to stay. Thus far, there doesn't seem to have been any financial benefit from the attack. What's more, when attackers use malware, they expose their methodology, which makes it possible for security people to develop protections for that line of attack. But the Ukrainians have long been slacking in that department. To demonstrate these exact points, the same group, going by the same name, hacked a different grid of the same country the following year as well. Just to keep them on their toes, I guess. So, not much has changed, it seems. What exactly was gained from this exercise, nobody knows, since there doesn't seem to be any financial benefit from the attack, though the following hypotheses remain. Perhaps it was a test for something greater, an exercise in surgical precision, attack tools, social engineering routes, and general sensitive intelligence. It might have also been a geopolitical spat between the neighbors, with one wishing to bully the other back into its sphere of influence. Preparation for war is also one of the very plausible hypotheses, and that same war would happen some 6 to 7 years later. Or maybe some good old-fashioned revenge. Who's to say? This incident underscores the need for diligence and the increased effort in cybersecurity that we are seeing in the government and private sectors. The continuously increasing dependence on the power grid is driving the need for cybersecurity to be part of the design of all new systems going forward. But the fact remains that, no matter how carefully planned and designed the system is, a resourceful hacker will always find a way in.